Good morning, this is Stuart Davidson here, your friendly PQS, and today is the first week in, day 7 of my 14 in 14 challenge. So what that is last Monday I probably ridiculously said that I want to lose £14 in 14 days and gain 14 grand's worth of sales in 14 days. So how am I getting on? Well, in terms of the weight loss, I've lost £5. Not quite where I wanted to be, so I should have been £7 by now, so £2 adrift. Having said that, what's interesting is that my body fat ratio's gone down a bit, so I'm kind of doing all right. I'm taking action. My diet's got a lot better, and I'm doing a bit more exercise. So I've been out this morning. You see my eyes are all a bit runny because the wind is really bitingly cold and strong this morning, so I just had a couple of runs around the field, doing a few what I call spot gallops, not spot sprints at my age, but spot gallops and bits and pieces like that. So I really got to step it up this week to see if I can hit the target. And on the 14k in 14 days, well, been interesting. I'm learning a lot this week. No sales yet. Having said that, I'm putting some groundwork in that I didn't have. Last Monday, I was phoning around 30 calls, not really getting very far. I don't think people were in the office, or I was getting through to gatekeepers and secretaries and that sort of thing. But I did get some leads last week. But really, it's not about the 14 grand. It's about really as a business, you know, how are we showing up in the world? Are we understanding our clients? Are we understanding our potential clients' needs and pains? Are there people out there with needs and pains, developers, contractors, subcontractors, that we're not addressing, that they may not know that there's someone out there with a solution, you know? And I don't think we're getting out enough. As bean counters, we spend too much time behind the computer screen. I know I do. I spent my life as a bean counter, so to speak, behind computer screens, but it's that time I challenged myself to get out there to see if I can help people, serve people. And the monetary factor is just a measure of how we're serving, really, as far as I'm concerned. So it's not really about going out there and, oh, it's just because I want to earn 14 grand. It's a measure of really how I'm running the business. Am I getting the right team together? Am I motivating the team well enough? Am I motivating myself well enough? So what we've done, I put a team in place last week, realised that I need some more quality leads. So we've got somebody's looking at the social media platforms, optimizations and Facebook ads. Really the biggest, I've got somebody researching. We're doing some research, some good research that might be interesting to people as well, around developers, where they are at the moment, if they're sitting on, property, if they're sitting on cash, if they're looking to purchase property, contractors, if they're looking to get their supply chain back up and running, are they struggling to get materials? They need someone to support them, to help them to find the suppliers, the tradesmen. We can help with all of those sorts of things. So it's one thing that is that. But one thing I'm finding really interesting is that it's really finding the avatar, the ideal client, the client that might need our services. And it's not quite as easy as you think, but I'm kind of getting the hang of what type of people are coming towards me. I'm doing a little bit more phone calls. This week is going to be full on. So today should be filtering through the results of the research. I should be getting some good contacts, some good information about companies that I can call. So I'm going to be on. This is a real challenge for me because it's not something I've really done before. So I'm going to be on the phones, really hitting the phones all week, finding out what people's challenges are at the moment, what their projections are for the future. Are there any issues they've got on their projects? Are they sitting on finance, cash? Are they investing it? Are they looking for bridging finance or other lending? Just really get to a feel of where people's current challenges are. Have developers had problems with their projects? Do they have disputes? All of these things are things that we can deal with. As a bean counter, you get to get involved and you learn these things, and you can provide them as solutions to problems, So we do count beans, and we like counting beans, but we do a little bit more than that, But one of the big challenges for me that I'm finding is describing what we do. Because quite often, the amount of calls I've had last week and people didn't even know what a quantity surveyor was, or that they felt they needed a quantity surveyor, or if they did use quantity surveyors, they weren't quite sure the best way to select a quantity surveyor and get the best out of them. And they for sure didn't actually understand that the scope and the breadth of experience and knowledge that can be brought to a project by a quantity surveyor. So what's the challenge for me is, how do I describe what we do? You know, because people's eyes glaze over. So for me, the challenge is finding simple terms. You know, I did a live the other day, and I was having a bit of fun around bean counters and kind of Heinz 57. So I did 57 other things that a bean counter does, as well as counting beans. And you can see there's loads and loads of things that we can do. And then, like for myself, I'm in business. I run my own business. I started my own business in 1984. So I've run a few in the past. I've had my ups and downs with the business. And then I went back to university and got a degree. Then I became a chartered surveyor. And but I passed that on to everyone in my business. That knowledge, and there's a whole host of things that we can do in terms of helping people to grow their business, to manage their construction projects, being managed into time and budget. But you need to, I think really it's about building a relationship with a QS, because you know there are different types of QSs. Sorry about that. Lost connection there. Yeah, some QSs, they specialise in certain areas. So you'll get there's a contractor's QS, so they'll specialise in working on behalf of a main contractor. You get a PQS, which is kind of my background, although my business works on behalf of contractors, subcontractors, professional freelancers, and mainly developers, mainly clients, investors, and help them to prepare their projects. So my background is a PQS. You get a PQS who is normally a client representative, and a QS who works for a contractor. You get a QS that works for a subcontractor, and then you get some QSs that specialise in one particular aspect of a building. But what if you're a developer or an investor in property, you probably want somebody a PQS type role, but somebody who's aware of property development, aware of the front end, the appraisal end, because that's the key thing, is to manage when you're working out your numbers for a project, the key thing is to make sure you're maintaining those figures all the way through, that you've got an eye on them, you're monitoring them, that you know your allocation for your build costs, for example, is being managed appropriately, that your allocation for your profit within the scheme is being managed and maintained and ring-fenced within the scheme, that you've allowed for everything. So many people do investment appraisals and miss some stuff out, you know, and then they're wondering why they're struggling. But there's quite a list of things that you need to think about if you're doing a property investment, property development, and some things you wouldn't realise. And you need to look at the site, the logistics. You need to look at the costs, your agent's costs, your finance costs. You need to look at your professional fees, type of construction. Make sure you get the right type of construction, the right type of contractor. What's your period between purchasing the land and your day one drawdown if you're financing the scheme? There's lots of things that need to be paid out for and managed for, and cash flow during that time, cash flow during the construction. And what's your exit strategy? Are you holding? Is it going to be build to rent, private rental, or are you looking at flipping your projects? So these all make a difference to the dynamic of your model, your cash flow. And sometimes developers set the appraisal up, and a different firm come to do the project, the contract, the build site part of it, and it's very siloed. But what you really want is you want it all joined up. So if you used a firm like ours, I prefer it to be all joined up, so that you're managing everything, that you're not. See, the old-fashioned way of thinking is it's very siloed. So you kind of jump from one phase to the next phase to the next phase, and you're introducing people with different disciplines, and that's fine, but you really need an overall kind of right-hand man, right-hand woman type of thing that can manage it all the way through. And sometimes the way that cash is construction development is very risky, and that can be de-risked as well. I don't see that many people doing that. You know, it's steeped in old traditional, old-fashioned culture in the way that money is managed through development projects. And that needs to change, and it has to change, because there'll be a lot of risk out there over the next 6 months, and you need to protect your risk. So even if you have a conversation, you know, I'm happy to have a 15-minute conversation on any pain or problem that a developer or contractor has at the moment, and really to see if there's a way that you can. So I'm just genuinely interested in the subject, you know. So I'm happy to give a 15-minute call to point you in the right direction, you know, to see how you might set up the business under the current circumstances and the current environment. So yeah, but anyway, so the 14 grand in 14 days is a hell of a challenge. So I'm putting in groundwork at the moment. I think I've got a really good team around me now. It's going to be a challenge for me, because I'm going to have to hit the phones and talk to people about what the challenges are, and see if there's anything we can do to help. We're doing some research as well that I'd like to share next week. Once we get that back, that might be helpful to people on the general feeling of people within the construction industry, the property development industry, to see where they are now, how they're getting on with their supply chains. Are they being able to get them back up and running again? Are they working in a different way? Are they sitting on cash? Are they waiting? Are they thinking of investing at the moment, or are they going to wait for a while? What the general attitude is out there. I'm sure that will be useful information. I know it will be for us, because obviously it's part of our core business. So yeah, the challenge is on, and I've only got 7 days left. And what's the point of having a challenge if it's not ambitious, you know? Yeah, I'll keep you posted. Have a nice day. And it's a bit cooler today, actually. That's a bit of a biting wind today, but it looks like the sun's coming out now. And anyway, have a great day, be successful, be prosperous, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.